Welcome to the Thought Arcade. Today we discuss why hell is paved with good intention.
In Dragon Ball Z, at the end of the episode where it's like the commentator comes in and then at the end he's like, next time on Dragon Ball Z. Every time Elijah does that, that's what that reminds me of.
I tried to hire that guy for the wedding announcements, when they announced the wedding party. Not available.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't even know who that guy is at all. So.
Is he even alive?
I don't know.
Right.
He just has a very distinct voice. You could always tell.
Yeah.
For sure.
I guess before we jump into this conversation, do we have any church announcements? Anything?
Church announcements?
Yeah, updates, dude. Duh.
All right.
It's just a fun little way to kind of call them updates.
Oh, church announcement. I get you. I'm
assuming not anymore because Elijah was just completely thrown off.
I'm so sorry. I'm making a packing list for the trip. I'm too excited.
See, he's actually making a packing.
I'm actually making a packing list and then a separate wedding list for all the stuff.
Yeah.
I'm getting it all planned out, baby.
That's awesome.
So
it's happening, man.
I'll be honest, if I had a wedding in a different city than where I live, I still wouldn't do a packing list. I would also probably still hold off packing. So I applaud you, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, you just made me think that I have to talk about my car. My side mirror of my car's cracked. I don't know how to fix it or who would even try to fix it or where I go.
What is it?
My side view mirror on the driver's side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
And I don't know how to replace that or anything. And every time I take it somewhere, I've taken it somewhere twice, and they both just don't mention it at all.
Oh my gosh.
So, the office tape, just the clear tape. Why don't you just use that?
They make these weird sleeves you can put over the side view mirror, and then it has a mirror on it. It's like a piece of fabric that
I might have to look at that. It's just because I need to get my car registered and stuff up to date.
Yeah,
and I know that'll be a problem.
Yeah, that's
we got new brakes.
Stressful. You got new brakes though?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Car stuff sucks.
I hate it. I hate it almost as much as I hate state and local government. I can't stand it.
All right, so this is taking a different turn than anticipated. So why don't we just jump in?
That's what I would freak out about if I was making a long trek in order to get to a wedding type of thing,
exactly
my own wedding too. That's all I would be thinking about is my car gonna break down or what?
I know, I was so paranoid because Val drove a little under halfway, and I was like, something's gonna up with my car and we're gonna be not there,
Yeah.
And I'm a person who's been in a rollover before. Okay, so I think I have an unwarranted / warranted fear of cars.
Yeah.
So
and you said so. We have actually somebody here, Andrea Taylor, asking which mirror is it again? Are you talking about the side mirror?
It's the side. It's the side mirror on the driver's side. So the side mirror on the driver's side.
Side mirror on the driver's side.
Yeah,
dude. I don't know if maybe I can fix it.
I saw where people they replaced the mirror, but it's some sort of some sort of double-sided tape and stuff, and I don't know where to order it or anything.
Yeah,
I thought about trying to do it myself, but
that's true. I've never heard of anyone not passing for the mirror though. I don't know if you can. I think you can get through the inspection without it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know if I have to do it because my driver's license and all that stuff is in Travis. Well, it has Travis County on there.
Yeah,
but I don't know if I can just do it here in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, how big is the crack?
Oh, a solid quarter of it's just not there anymore.
Oh, just kidding. Yeah. I want to get that
Yeah.
worked out. I was going to say, like, what are the odds you can get away with it? Just kidding. You can't.
Yeah,
No,
you can't.
it's pretty noticeable. It's just there, you know. I might take a picture and put it up tomorrow.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That way people can help out too.
Yeah.
Help you out with that. You don't want to Like, we want you to get over to your wedding, you know, like we don't want you to not be able to drive to the wedding. That'd be weird, but
that would be weird because then the best man would have to, and I don't know if you would feel comfortable with that.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally.
Elijah's just the last person to arrive at his own wedding.
Yeah, fashionably late, man. That's how it's gonna be, man.
There we go.
You just need to be there for the I do's, and that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, technically, right? Like, I just need to be there for the I do's, and then Mike signs, and we're good to go.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we still file separately because we'll get more money. Don't file joint unless, like, you know, y'all. There's a threshold.
I don't even.
And it's very low.
I still don't know what the pros and cons are for filing separately and all that. So
filing separately. So I had a guy at my old job. He and his wife filed separately, and she put the 2 dependents on her.
Mm-hmm.
And she got more money than when they filed together and claimed the dependents.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I don't have any dependents. I haven't filed my 2 dogs as dependents yet. So
yes.
I heard you can do that. I still don't know how to do that though.
Yeah, there's so like
through PetSmart or something. Like, do I have to get with Petco or something like that?
There's a way you can,
send all your receipts of all the dog food you bought within the year.
That's when the IRS comes to you, but do you really have a dog? Where you and then you're like George Costanza from Seinfeld. You have a wallet full of receipts and stuff. Yeah, but no one does that.
I want tax write-offs on all the treats that I bought these dudes for like the whole year. I mean, that adds up.
Dude, you know Odin goes through so much food as a puppy. And they don't sell like the big. It would be so much better if they sold like the big 20-pound, 500-pound bags. Because they do for the adult schnauzer, but not for puppy schnauzer.
Yeah.
And like we could last like a year with that bag. But we have to buy these like individual meals. It's so stupid.
Yeah, that's weird.
That was such a leap. He said 20-pound, 500-pound bags.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
for like the whole year too.
So. Yeah. And you know, we have to give him the best. So we always order like the most expensive food, like specifically formulated for him.
For a schnauzer, yeah.
Oh, dude. So real quickly though, I watched my schnauzer eat his tooth.
Oh, nice.
He's losing teeth, and he lost one the other day. And I was looking, I was like, "What are you chewing on, dude?" And he looks at me. And I look back at him, dramatic pause. I lean over to him. It's his tooth.
Ugh.
It's disgusting. And he's chewing on it.
Ugh.
And I was like, dude, that's disgusting. And I took it out. Like, you're going to puncture your lung or something. And I threw it away. And I told Val about it when she came home. And she's like, you didn't save the tooth? No.
Just making sure my dog didn't die.
Keep a little capsule full of all these like teeth and make a scrapbook and stuff like that.
Oh,
have you seen the GIF where it's like the person asks their dog, "What's in your mouth?" and the dog just looks up and then runs,
or like starts chewing faster? That's what Odin does. He just starts chewing faster.
Have you seen the one where it's like, what did you do? And then it just opens its mouth and like 10 chicken nuggets come out or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and they're not even bitten or anything. They've just been like, they're solid in its mouth. Or tater tots.
Yeah. He's like, what's in your mouth? And he just spits them all out, like 30 of them.
He was so gentle with it. Like, none of them were like the structural integrity of these tots were not compromised. He was just like, and they were just like, all right. Those were your tots. My bad.
My bad. No one claimed them. You know?
The reason why we're here today talking the Thought Arcade is this buzz around this show, right? This Netflix movie actually called Cuties. Chris was the only one brave enough to like actually get into.
You are now probably on an FBI watch list. I know we all have FBI agents listening to us, but you got like 3 of them now.
The phone. Y'all didn't watch it?
No, I didn't watch it.
I thought we were in uniform for everybody, so I like rushed it.
Oh no, I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to.
But your name comes up on the pedophilia list.
Okay, hold on. That's unfair. I need y'all to watch it immediately so y'all can feel as uncomfortable as I felt. The only way I could watch it was during work, so I could kind of like focus on the movie and also work. So my complete attention is not on these 11-year-olds trying to join a work contest.
Yeah. See, this was just a prank to get Chris to watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I did though. I watched a bunch, and I tried to be not biased. So I watched left, I can know that they're left leaning channels on YouTube for reviews and stuff of the film. I watched some neutral people. Then watched some right people. Then I went to IMDb, started reading all the reviews. I went to Rotten Tomatoes, which has the most, the highest disparity between critic and audience, I think, ever. It's an 89% on critics, and it's a 5% on audience.
Jeez, that's
So I went and read a bunch of those reviews and stuff because I'm not comfortable watching this film.
Yeah, I don't see. What I've did was I've seen little scenes and I've seen pictures and I understand what the plot of the movie is, and I've heard commentating on it too, and I understand that it's written to actually shed light on the culture that these girls pick up on. So it's not explicitly trying to be a weird movie just for the sake of watching girls
following these girls doing this stuff. There's a reasoning behind it, and it brings up a complicated topic. It brings up a controversial topic.
Yeah, but it does it in the way where is it exploitation of it while filming these girls, or is it not? And I think you can argue in some cases it definitely does exploit these girls while trying to bring to light exploitation of these girls, it's kind of contradictory. So that's what I thought was really that's why people are all crazy, and of course they want to cancel Netflix immediately. It's just okay, let's just cancel Netflix. I'm just whatever, cancel you, man. I'm canceling you. So I'm canceling everybody.
When you put on softcore child pornography, there's got to be a little stance there.
There's got to be a line drawn, and I think some senators or something like that have come out and just been we should probably look into whether Netflix violated any laws while filming certain parts of this thing.
Well, it's a French film,
right?
And culture is different. Because I think it's weird because the age of consent in France, I think, is 15.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is. It's it's easier for younger folks to engage in a bit of an intimate relationship or be exposed to that type of things in France. So I guess coming from the one person that saw the movie, thank you guys for that cruel prank. I appreciate that one.
Cool. Sorry.
There are a lot of parts that I actually did kind of think were good and valid.
Yeah.
The main character, her family, it goes into the background and shows her culture a little bit and kind of her family life as well.
Yeah.
So the first she's from Senegal, and it was cool to see her living in France with her background that they came from Senegal. Yeah. So a lot of the movie, not a lot of it, but a good amount of it was showing their family culture, how they lived, what they were going through, because that family was going through an issue. We have people watching us right now, so I don't really want to spoil it.
We can spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into spoiler territory because I understand the plot as well. I haven't seen it, but I haven't seen a lot of it, but I've seen bits and pieces. And I understand the underlying plot, and I think we should get into the underlying plot because a lot of what we're seeing here is just we can ignore. It's two things can be true at once. There are certain suggestive scenes and images that have been taken from it. And you can kind of point and say, that probably shouldn't have happened. Is that the right thing to shoot or the wrong thing to shoot? Can you get that message across without shooting that kind of way? But then there's also the plot, and it actually goes along with stuff that we would agree with as normal people. And so I think we should talk about it. I think we can spoil it.
Okay. So then in that case, So basically, like in their family, it's like the dad has now found a new wife. You know, she's about to get married.
The second wife, right?
Or a second wife.
She's already married. And in
Yes.
their tradition, they can have multiple. They believe in polygamy.
Yes. So she is. So it kind of. Her mom is obviously distraught about it. There's a scene where her mom is crying about it on the phone, and Ami is under the bed listening in, kind of eavesdropping, hears it, and her mom is breaking down. And then by the end of the movie, they end up starting to get ready to go to this wedding. So that's like the end scene, or like towards the end of the movie where this wedding is happening, and she basically has to watch. Ami's mom basically has to watch her husband marry another woman.
Right.
And so there's also like it shows that kind of, you know, plot point there within the movie as well. So I like that is also another good takeaway from the movie rather than us like kind of just throwing the whole like the child exploitation thing out immediately.
Yeah.
Now, I do believe that there is some very, very questionable parts of this movie that I think were done with good intentions of trying to shed light on this, you know, whole idea that we get that younger generations will get the information from the things they see. It's almost like peer pressure. So I definitely get that was the original intention. I do not think this was the right way to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do kind of, it's more understanding intent rather than like the actual purpose of it.
Yeah, because the director, I guess after she received all this backlash, she then came out and said, well, this is like the purpose of the movie was, you know, she described it as a coming of age story, which I don't think is right. But it definitely has, you can make it that narrative of, you know, like this is our culture today of the hypersexualization of everything and how it relates to impressionable young females and what they have to go through. And there's a really funny joke about Aziz Ansari, how he goes to India and how like nothing there sexualized, like advertisements that did feature women were like fully clothed, stuff like that. And then he talks about like in America, like everything's in a bikini. All the thoughts on TikTok, stuff like that.
All the thoughts on TikTok.
All the thoughts doing the cool little TikTok dances, you know, that are stupid and pointless and dumb.
Not us thoughts, not the thought arcade.
Yeah,
not the thought arcade. Exactly. We got to clarify.
The thoughts. No, I think you're right. Like I think the movie is like the director itself, and I've seen a lot of director commentary because I wanted to get like really into why the film was made. And you're right. It's a lot of, Chris is right with like the culture dynamic. Like she was experiencing a lot of different cultures at once. She was kind of battling between like 3 different cultures at one time, you know, whether it be her Muslim background or her French, you know, the French Western culture side of it. And then now like this dance group or whatever, this twerk group or whatever that she's having to kind of tug strings and kind of figure herself out in the world. And then I did see that the director had spoken to a lot of different like teens, like you know, they're going through life and they're influenced so much by social media and things like that. And she kind of like interviewed a bunch of kids, I guess, and kind of
she interviewed like around 250, but the interview process like had them twerking and stuff, like dancing in front of them.
Yeah. And a lot of like, I guess she relates the movie to herself as well, like experiences that she's had. So, I mean, I can appreciate like some of the directorial choices there, like in trying to tell the story. But I think you're right. I think there are certain parts where it's just like, oh, like, do we need to like see that to like understand what you're trying to say? And I think that we've been talking about this kind of all along in the Thought Arcade, like with our previous episodes, how much social media has an influence on kids, or like how worried we are about social media,
how it's the downfall of society.
How it's a downfall of society. Yeah, like
exploitation of children is just one of them.
Like if they're not learning things from, from their parents or from school, then where else do you get your education from? It's from celebrity, it's from the people you admire every single day on TikTok, on social media all the time. And it's hypersexualized. So in this movie, it shows that as well. People, or these kids, getting influenced by a bunch of likes and a bunch of attention because they changed the way they sent a photo or something. It was a photo of something they shouldn't have sent. And then all of a sudden they get a bunch of attention, and it's like a reinforcement thing.
Yeah, it was interesting because right before I watched this, I watched the movie. It was like a documentary I was telling you guys before we started, was called The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
And that would go into like the negative aspects of like social media on the younger generations. They even talk to like employees with these previous social media companies. So definitely recommend that. Definitely watch it. But basically what they were saying is nowadays everything is set on a particular algorithm, and that algorithm is mostly tailored on each individual person. So it's almost like there is a third party kind of funneling all these like very specific ads, very specific informations to the person from the base, which is whoever has that ad, whoever has that information. And it'll go through this third party essentially. And from that third party, it'll filter out anything that is kind of that person is going to enjoy, that specific person. So the thing that social media obviously plays a part in this movie is because of the fact that like most of the time they're watching these videos of these girls twerking, or they're sending out these very inappropriate pictures. And what then causes that is the algorithm now sets for that person and kind of just sends them on a rabbit hole to where it's just low or constantly sending them these videos, more and more twerk videos. It doesn't really go into that, but this is the impact that the social media actually has when it comes down to like these girls actually wanting to further their interest in joining a dance crew.
Right.
Or like learning these dance steps to become who they end up becoming.
And we've seen it so much. Like we've seen, we were talking about it with like the simp episode, like the girls that
where's my brother?
Where's your brother? So like the girls that like figure out that, leaving a little more skin on camera or something like that will get them more views. It's like the person on the outside sees that that's working, that works. People can exploit themselves a little bit and get a lot more followers, get like ahead in the game, in the social game. And then from there, it's just all algorithm, like you said. Like I get weird algorithm stuff, by the way. I don't even know what kind of algorithm they got going on YouTube, but I get some weird stuff from like 6 years later, and I'm like, what is this like 6-second video that I just watched? It's like so random.
Y'all remember when we were talking about dating on something, and all of a sudden, all of us started getting like eHarmony ads everywhere?
They're always listening, man.
Like, they're always listening.
The algorithms are listening. In the cloud somewhere.
We have an FBI agent listening to us, remember?
It's the Patriot Act right there. Like all of this is just recorded, sent to San Francisco, where it's put up on a metadatabase, and then some FBI agent has to sift through it.
So true.
But see, this is where I kind of fault these like so-called influencers or these people who gain who become famous on like social media like TikTok and Vine and YouTube and whatever, is because some of them do have such a large platform, such a large fan base, that all of a sudden they are kind of doing these things, doing very scandalous things, doing very sketchy things, doing very suspect things. And their younger generation is like latching onto these. And that's where I think the movie does do it right, is because of the fact that they're basing this off of like impressions that the older generation has left behind. Because as the generations grow older, they're gonna start picking up on things, or they're very impressionable when you're a young child. Like everybody is. You're very heavily influenced by everything around you. That's just how it works. That's life. You either learn to, kind of build your own path or just follow in behind people. And so it does do it right because of the fact that it kind of shows that this is the one thing that, and it talks like the specific sexualization of like twerking for this movie. Yeah. How this was gathered from other cultures, how this was gathered from like the older people who came before them.
I've have y'all ever thought too that, because like I've kind of always thought this. My sisters were twirlers. They thumb twirling the
twirl the baton at the band.
Baton, yeah. I guess that's the way to call it. But yeah, it was kind of in the gymnastics kind of era. And so they did that for a while, and their routines are pretty cool. They flip everything, and then you have some little dance moves here and there. I mean, the songs that the one song that I remember was Pink, the "Let's Get This Party Started."
Nice,
classic like little party song, like little dance routine, stuff like that. But there were already kids back then, and I'm sure it is now, that they already have these crazy dance routines when they're real little. And those what's that one show where they doll the girls up too, like
the beauty pageant one was got Honey Boo
Boo, yeah, exactly. All of that stuff, dude. Like they over makeup the girls, they over bedazzle them with like skimpy outfits, and they're like 10, and then they do weird dance moves on there too, and you're just like, dude, like these kids are so young. Like, why are we allowing? Like it's already makes you uncomfortable. So we're kind of like already there. So I understand why this movie kind of got made too. Like I think that it was made like for good intentions. And I even in the film, spoilers. At the end of the film, she ends up like thinking about her mom while they're doing the dance routine, right? Like she ends up figuring out like who she wants to be. She's like, dude, this is wrong. She ends up basically denouncing that culture and going back and like jump roping with some friends, just being a kid. And I think that's a great message. But then we have to figure out like, were some of these shots and were some of these things appropriate? So
that's the thing. Like you could talk about the sexploitation of kids without having them be sexually exploited in the exact same thing. And that's like the main argument that most of these people have is you could have that stuff and you could even cut the dance routines to like just show their heads or have something different. To where like is you're not actually just showing them just twerking, because the film's rated TVMA, so like kids aren't going to get this message. Kids aren't going to be able to have access to this film, so it's already directed toward adults.
Well, that's the thing. They're already kids. MA doesn't mean crap, dude. Mm-hmm. Like no parent puts not no parent, but like not a lot of parents put parental controls on their Netflix. Like kids can watch whatever the heck they want nowadays too. You know what I mean? That's how easily they have access to things like this. Not just like this movie per se, but like the over sexualized culture that the kids in the movie get exposed to. You know what I mean? Like the
social we talked about like how like they have YouTube Kids, but YouTube itself is supposed to be a platform for family like entertainment. And then why do you have YouTube Kids? And even then on YouTube Kids, there's a bunch of weird
something gets filtered through. Something gets filtered through, man.
It's very disturbing. But you have to think like our generation when we were younger too. I mean, realistically, our parents may have not cared about like those the ratings either. Like I was
absolutely did.
Yeah,
my parents, by the way. My parents did not like they didn't care what we watched, you know what I mean? And that's just something that like kind of grows as a habit for like kids who come up after us, is because they're they just constantly are just forgetting about that rating, or like it doesn't even at this point I feel like it's just irrelevant like you said, no one completely. If it sounds interesting, people are gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it's rated TVMA or G.
Yeah, that's true. And Elijah's right. You were saying about the way it was filmed, like they could film the dance with like the head.
Yeah, like you
like head up, and there was a lot of things where they were like zooming on butts and stuff.
Exactly.
And, that's
what people have the problem with.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. I can't believe I can't believe Chris.
There was Chris. There was one scene where it's like this. The girl I was watching said that the girl like lifts up her shirt and you see her chest. Do you is that scene in the film?
Because oh my god, I can't even explain. Yeah, so there's a part in the movie where like this is when they start like working on Ami. So first, Ami is trying to get accepted into this group of girls. They're the dance group. They're called the Cuties. So then they're watching they start to watch videos of other dance crew, and there's this one dance crew in particular that they want to beat. And while they're dancing, one of the girls, I don't know if this girl is of age or not, because her age is not disclosed. The Cuties crew, their age is disclosed. Yeah. But the other dance crew, theirs is not. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming they're in high school. That's my assumption. When the Cuties are watching the video of this other dance crew, while they're dancing, one of the girls pulls up her top. She's already like wearing a crop top, so it's already very short. Yeah. Wears up her top, and you do see, her chest.
Okay. See, like that, like
that's horrible.
Do we need to put that in the film?
Yeah, I know.
Them watching that, like
I don't think that part was necessary. I don't think half of the stuff in the movie about dancing was necessary.
There's like Rashida Jones, like she tackles this subject pretty well, and she doesn't do like half of this stuff. Like she talks about like how women are exploited, sex work and stuff like that, and she makes a pretty good message, but she doesn't like. It's like a really good analogy for it is like if Netflix made a film about how killing is wrong, so they go around killing people and showing you. And then at the very end, we're like, hey, don't kill, man.
Don't kill. But yeah.
Prior to all of that, they're just killing people.
It's like Dare. It's like the Dare program that we talked about. Just like, don't do it. But let me show you everything that happens when we do it.
Yeah. Like I think that there are definitely ways to go about talking about this subject. And there are ways to not do it. Mm-hmm. And this film is like 80% not doing it. And 20%, all right, I get your message, Yeah. And like and the stupid thing is the reaction of all the criticism that's garnered this new reaction to like, oh, they're just, they're just some right-winged person, and like we're talking about moral decency within society. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about the left Tulsi Gabbard, one of the left people that I like to follow and makes a good point about the film. Mm-hmm. She was immediately called a QAnon like sympathizer, Yeah. And it's dumb.
Yeah. Let's get into some of the global response. We'll get into that in just a moment. If you didn't know already, you're listening to the Thought Arcade. We are streaming this on Facebook here just to let y'all know we are here. We usually get our podcasts on wherever you get your podcasts, actually Apple, Spotify, whole bunch of others.
Google.
It's located on Google. It's located on Anchor. We do upload our videos to YouTube as well. Thanks for joining us. We are talking about Netflix's Cuties. So yeah, the response that we're getting online and just overall with like news outlets, political officials and things like that it's just crazy. Like it's either there's no middle ground. As far as I could tell, it was either like, hey, like we should probably take a look at this. Like it doesn't look really like decent at all, like you said, like just some sort of decency with this film. Like should we be able to do that, like film the things that we filmed? And then there's the other side where you see it was just like, well, if you didn't like what you saw, you were like, hating on the color of their skin or something. I've seen like defending like fully, like you just don't understand like what it is to be like be a teen growing up type of thing. I just kind of, it's all to the complete extremes. And so you said
you just live in a world where there's no common ground, there's no middle ground. And for like a solid 2 or 3 days, this movie became a meme because both the left, the right, the centrist, and I know centrist is like, it's bad in today's culture, but that's that's pretty much like where I am. And they all came together, were like denouncing the film, and then a couple days later, now it's just this divisive issue. And it's dumb. Yeah. Like you're defending a morality clause now. It's not, it shouldn't be, it's like defending an ethical issue. You know?
Like, it's something to discuss. It's not that, I don't know. It's like everyone now, and you're right, like we're very like divided on everything now. We have to argue about everything.
The New Yorker, the Telegraph, you know, these bigger places are just like, they're like, well, actually, this film's great, and if you don't like it, you support Donald Trump, and you're right wing.
Right? Yeah. Like, there's only an A or B. Like, you liked it, or you didn't like it, or you defend the film, or you have something wrong. Like, no, that's not how anything works.
It's like if you view this as bad, you're automatically just like this horrible, deranged person, even though I 100% think Jeffrey Epstein would have this playing at his house.
That's what I was going to ask you about too, man. Like you had your name on here, Elijah. Jeffrey Epstein would have loved this film or something. Yeah. And I want to, I mean, from what Chris told us, and then from what I know about the movie,
from the scenes that I've seen, like where they cut out like just the twerking part, like that, like it's all zoomed in. They're grabbing their crotch. They're rubbing their chest. They're doing all this stuff. Like if you put that on YouTube, your channel's getting shut down.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know it.
You put this on Facebook, you're gonna get zucked. You know.
And did y'all see the get zucked? Did you get to see the Netflix like movie poster itself that they ended up taking down?
Yeah, and it's a different, like the original poster is completely different.
Yeah,
the original poster is.
It's them in like weird positions and stuff. Like really, I mean, they're I mean, you had to get these girls in front of a camera and tell them to do a pose and then take pictures of them. And how is that not like borderline child pornography?
And imagine how many times how long it took them.
Yeah, I know. Like that, they didn't just do that like once. Oh, good, we got it. You know, no, like, all right, try this one, try this move, try. You know, and it's just like,
the guy who did the Nickelodeon casting. What's his name?
Like you always, yeah.
He probably would have been on this film casting.
Yeah,
you know,
At one point,
but they changed. They also changed the Netflix description of the film like 3 times. Like before, the first one is like, it's Amy, she's 11, she's trying to join a twerking group after she saw some twerking. And then it changed to, well, now she's going to go against her family's traditions and blah, 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 to like the third one that we have now, which is, you know, there's a group of girls that are trying to discover themselves, and they do the coming of age plot line.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like for me, like a coming of age film like that, like there's a movie called Sex Drive. Speaking of hypersexualization of teenagers and stuff, there's a movie called Sex Drive, which I love. I love that movie. I think it's hilarious. Kristen Bell's in it, and she's a villain, and it's funny. Everyone should go watch it because they're a dude in a donut costume, and they put a plaything on him per se. And it's a funny film, but like in the end, like they don't show anything about sex. Like they talk about it a little bit, and like the protagonist gets the message of, you know, whatever the director wanted. You know, and you could do that. The greatest coming of age story, Catcher in the Rye. It hints at a little bit of a sexual exploitation. God, it's a hard word. Too many syllables. scenes.
Too many.
Of like this teacher's like petting him when he's asleep, and it's kind of assumed that he's a pedophile, but like not really. And I remember spending a good chunk of like classroom discussion stuff on that, like, and like the teacher was defending the guy petting the kid, like, no, he just really likes him and thinks he's a good student and doesn't want him to leave the school and stuff like that. And I'm like, no man should go up to a child and start petting them when they're asleep unless it's their kid.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm like, yeah, that's a little questionable.
Yeah. For sure, dude.
It's like, I like the intention, and I don't like how they executed the intention.
Right. Like it's okay to make these stories. It's just
it's okay to talk about this. Like I agree. Like like I mean, we sexualized an M&M, like the green M&M girl. You know,
well, like talking about Eminem, I was like, okay, like, come on, like Slim Shady, sexualizing him.
Oh, we can sexualize him.
Yeah, that's true. We could.
But like the green M&M, like she's sexualized to a degree.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like that's pervasive in our culture, and we should address
procreate. You know,
but apparently, if you address it, you're a horrible person.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's like you can have a feminist perspective of it, and like I don't think a child would have this perspective. They're probably just looking at them dancing, saying, "Oh, that's cool. I want to dance too."
Yeah,
you know,
I would really enjoy like trying to hear like what the people defending the movie would think, or what the people that are like strongly against the movie would think. Just because of the fact that like I'm so. I wouldn't say
I can make a couple reviews. So I'm on IMDb, a good source for reviews. One guy gives it a 1 out of 10. And he says that the close-up filming is unexplainable. There's an 11-year-old with her legs wide apart. There's some dry humping. The film could have made a point without inappropriate close-up filming. I found it to be shocking. Then there's a 7 out of 10 where it says the film may be quite uncomfortable at times as a whole. The acting, which there's no actors. This is real life. So I hate when they're saying that there's acting. There's nothing. She says like that the storytelling is quite unique and engaging. You know, it's about a young girl being exposed and then rebelling. You know, you need to watch the film to open your mind. And
it's like I've seen that too. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. There's completely two sides of the story. So it's like, yeah, the movie was weird and it's uncomfortable and it shouldn't have done this and shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have done that. Yeah. And then there's the other side where it's like, it can be uncomfortable at times. And you're like, what is uncomfortable to you? Like, what in the world did you watch? If you think that just could be interpreted as uncomfortable, like you need to redefine that word.
Like when asking me what's uncomfortable to watch, you know, I would say stuff like that, you know. But like, I'm also realized that we're in a group of like we're the first internet people, so we've been completely desensitized to everything. That's you know, true. Like that's nothing truly shocks me anymore with what I've seen on the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good
but like
point, man.
there should be a line, especially with the sexploitation of people, just people in general, not alone children.
No, you know? Yeah. Well, just, I mean, it's just absurdly worse when it's children though.
Like,
and
it's
that's where I'm like, you need to use a different word than uncomfortable. You know, you need to use like, this was like absurd, inappropriate. Yeah. Like the guy was saying, it's just inconceivable how you even made that, like that directorial choice in filming these parts. You know, it's like,
it didn't even come to me, like, especially in a time like this where we just got Jeffrey Epstein doing this, where like we didn't even talk, like Elijah, it's in Elijah's name and we didn't even mention this. We just caught Jeffrey Epstein. We just caught the ringleader Ghislaine Maxwell. Like
film, like we're on Epstein's fight logs at his little pedo island. Mm-hmm. You know, Kamala Harris, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, all these people.
All of them.
Like they're the ones defending the film.
It's just it's crazy because especially at a time where that sort of thing is so sensitive. And not only that, I just saw a news article where there's another Netflix show called Cheer. One of the guys that was a cheer. It's about cheerleading. One of the guys that was on there, cheerleader,
like really good though.
Yeah, he's being charged with child pornography.
Yeah.
Jeez. Like in such a sensitive time and such a very intense topic or something to discuss.
Yeah.
Like I don't think this was the right time to maybe even release this just yet, or maybe they should have changed things up.
Yeah. It's like this is a perfect time to shed light on how as a culture we are kind of permitting this overly sexualized generation, you know, like it's getting to them. Like it's not just in this movie. Like you look anywhere, dude, like all the girls on TikTok, I mean, they're all, you know, you guys watch Twitch fails? Like
I love Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch fails are great, right?
Yeah.
So these people, they get sent these links, right? And then it's just like, oh man, like she's cute, man, cool, whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm 13. And it's just like, well, what? Like, and then they freak out, right? They're like, oh my gosh, you made me watch a video of like a 13-year-old that was on like Twitch or something.
Yeah.
You know? Like this is already happening. 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds are like overly done up in themselves, getting online and getting likes, getting followers, and all this stuff, and it's just happening. And I think it's important to bring it up.
Yeah.
And the movie did it wrong. That's like they did some things wrong. Like, I think it's an important conversation to have though, because of what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. It's just, you know, the conversation part's not really happening too well because it's like one or the other, you know. Like
there's a really good YouTube commentator called The Right Opinion, and he's a British commentator, but he lives here in America, and he's like a music producer or something like that. But he commentates on like not like trending topics, but like he talks about there was this guy, this like real young singer. That he got famous on YouTube, like for doing acapellas, but then he became like a singer and stuff. Like, but then he was out there, he was literally texting underage girls, like, "Hey, twerk for me on camera and send me the video." And he got arrested, charged with child pornography. This whole film is this subject.
Yeah,
exactly. That's another thing. Like, we're not even talking about all the people that are
that video, but. Go watch his channel and you're gonna find it. I've got the artist's name. That he's like sending all of these DMs to underage girls like to twerk, and some of them were as young as 13. It was between 13 and 17, and he like made sure to verify their age first. He made like he talked them up, talked to like how like they're pretty and stuff, and like manipulates them.
Right.
You know, so what I would like to see is the cast of this film come out and talk. Like, what did the camera people say to them? You know, what did the director say to them? What did the
not necessarily the cast itself, just like the back end stuff, like the camera and the script writers
worked on by like 100+ people at least.
Yeah.
And not one of them thought, "Hey, this is sketchy."
Yeah,
I don't feel comfortable.
And then the parents too. I mean, all these girls have. I mean, not you can't say that every single one of these girls has just no parents and they're just in these films. Like they had to be something going on, dude. Like you have to, and I think that's why some people are saying like, there should be some sort of investigation into the making of this film, and then we can deem whether this film should really even be on Netflix at all. Because of, I mean, that's a good point, dude. I would totally want to hear, because I've heard from the director, I've heard her side of the story. I agree with her side of the story.
Speaking out, like, and as she's, you know, you can either address criticism or you can ignore it. It's good that you addressed it.
If I didn't know anything about the movie and I heard her perspective on what she was like trying to portray in the film, I would totally be on board, and I'd be like, you know what, cool, I can agree with that message, but. You're right, dude. There's way too many people, and you can't even blame the girls, dude. Like these people are coaxing them to act a certain way, to do certain things, And that's just like textbook wrong, dude. Ugh. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I think it is a good thing though, like that something like this happens. It wasn't executed right? We've determined that. But it should bring out the people saying no,
exactly. It brought the conversation to the forefront, which I think, in the end the director would like, it's just all the backlash of bringing it to the front and then criticizing the film.
Yeah.
That all these people, it's ridiculous.
Essentially what it seems like is she's willing to take one for the team. You know what I mean? Like she's willing to take this blow and take all the criticism, all the negativity of this film, as long as she makes this issue aware. Now, the thing that it seems like what she wants now is more of a solution to happen rather than us go back and forth. And this is where the issue becomes like, it's either you're one way or another. Like it should, in this circumstance, something that's so morally wrong, this should never be a one or the other. There is
also, just to point out, this is her only film that she's ever made. It's just this one.
Right.
Exactly. Some other stuff, but this is the one where she's credited as a director.
Yeah. And so it's at the point where like a lot of the stuff in the movie could have been left out. A lot of it could have been changed. The movie could have been a completely different thing. But, at the end of the day, she did bring this up. She brought this after, and the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, essentially he didn't really, that whole issue didn't, for the whole child trafficking, nothing really came about it from, he committed suicide. It ended everything, essentially. It put everything at a screeching halt.
Right. Yeah.
But this movie does help that issue by putting this child exploitation, child pornography type of thing, like in the world's point of view, or in the world's eyes, to where now let's drive towards a solution. Let's see what we can do to sort this out. Stop saying you're one way. Stop saying you're the completely opposite way. Let's come together. But again, obviously, we live in a world where everybody wants to be so combative with each other. Nothing is ever really gonna get done that way. But I do applaud her for kind of putting this issue out there, and now it's under the microscope.
Like, it makes me want to see what other work she's gonna do. Like, I'm not gonna try to pronounce her name. Mia Moma Duquer. It's French, so like half those words, half those letters don't make sense. Yeah. It makes me want to see what else she can put out there. It makes me see what else, like, how is this going to shape her direction or directorial vision? Insert word about directors going forward.
What I think controversial things like this really brings up is like how, and I think we should all like continue that conversation like forever, obviously, is that how explicit do things have to get for us to get the message? You know what I mean? Like movies with rape, movies with stuff like this, like why, or like certain graphic things where we're put through that through the movie.
Like when they show
exactly
her suicide.
Yeah.
And it brought up a bunch of suicide topics, but then people killed themselves because they saw it.
It ultimately like triggered people, and it actually did reverse of what it was trying to do. Yeah, so I think that's a constant conversation, and with things like this, obviously, brings up that conversation again. How graphic and how explicit do we need to be to get the message? And I think us three, I don't think it really takes much. Just like simple storytelling. It doesn't take much explicit stuff with the Cuties thing for us to kind of get, where they're going with it.
Yeah.
It's just, it happens. And these people are crazy.
I wonder if this was translated like into a book. Like, how would the book read?
Oh, even worse, probably.
How would people react to reading a book rather than watching a film about it? It
might be a little bit different just because of the fact that, like, obviously when you're reading a book, it's for your own interpretation. So like whenever you're reading a book, you can think of it some way different than like another person is thinking about it. But the thing is we're all watching the same movie. So we're all seeing the same thing, and that we're already basing that perception on whatever we're watching. So it's obviously the create kind of like a tunnel vision on what is exactly happening, where a book may have been a little bit more, but then again, realistically, who would have like read this? You know what I mean?
I think you can get away with more writing it than depicting it, because there's no, I mean, as long as you don't do pictures and stuff like that,
it's a visual thing.
It's a visual thing, right?
It's,
I think you can get away with describing a lot of different. I mean, I haven't read books like that, but I'm sure there's a line probably, but I think you're probably allowed to go pretty far with that. So I mean, people don't exploit books, you know what I mean? Like, people don't exploit that kind of thing with all these different kinds of hypersexual exploits and people that are pedophilic and stuff like that. They don't exploit books, they exploit pictures and movies and stuff. So it's, but I don't know, who knows, they'll come out with a book because of all this noise we're giving it.
One last thing. All I want to see is like try to drive towards a solution. Like, I know this is such a hard concept for everybody. I know this is such a hard thing with everybody being so divided. Like, at this point, we just need to kind of work together and merge a little bit and create that solution and step towards creating. And I'm speaking specifically for child exploitations. I can't speak on any other issues because I don't have much knowledge on any other issues other than my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
But this is something that should not happen. This is something that we've already let go on long enough. Like, if it takes for something like this type of movie to come out to where now we're saying something, it's too late. It's too late.
That's true. Yeah, we shouldn't have to wait for this to be normal, like these kind of images to be normalized on just a regular streaming service. We shouldn't have to wait for that. We should have said something a long time ago. You're exactly right. Cool, man. Let's get to some final thoughts here for the Thought Arcade. I just wanted to know what y'all think about the new PlayStation 5 and the Xbox reveal.
I'm glad the pricing came out.
Yeah, the pricing came out. So the Xbox digital only. We're talking digital only.
Which I like that move they did. I like that. Like, we don't need to buy a disc anymore. Buy to all that physical. I mean, we can just download it right into our computer. We don't have to wait for it. We don't have to go somewhere. We don't gotta have. Would you like to be a part of our members club at GameStop? No, I don't. I don't want to be anywhere associated with you. I'm just here because you're selling the game. Okay.
That's
Walmart was sold out.
Hold on. I have a GameStop membership and it's nice. It has some perks. Okay. Before y'all come at GameStop like that. But my only thing is that with digital games, they're always the same price.
Yeah.
They're very like their skills or anything like that.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess the only real advantage is just not going and getting the disc because it's the same price. But
disc
then,
break for some reason.
Right. Then you have to rely on the actual hard drive of the thing too. So we might have, whatever. So the Xbox Series S is the digital version. That's $300. That's going to be $299. And then PlayStation just revealed theirs, and it's $499 for the digital only.
Yeah.
So what y'all gonna do?
I don't know, man. I'm probably gonna get the PlayStation 5. It comes out the day after my birthday, so treat yourself.
Nice. Yeah, treat yourself.
And I've always been a PlayStation person, so
yeah.
I've always been an Xbox person. Have you ever seen the demographics of people who buy Xboxes over PlayStations? Like, no. Xbox is huge in America, almost exclusively American, and the PlayStation is more international, which I've always found to be weird.
Yeah. Sony.
Yeah, and so, but I'm definitely gonna, like, with the pricings, like, I'm probably gonna lean toward Xbox.
Yeah, like $100 difference. But even then, there's nothing that's making me want to get it right now. I'm just like,
I'm not gonna rush out there and get it first day. I'm gonna wait until everyone finds out all the glitches, all the bugs, all the stuff that doesn't work.
Yeah,
true. For both, because that's how they create things now. Is that 80% you'll get a DLC patch later?
How are we gonna play the new Call of Duty together, guys?
Yeah, so go to Black Ops. Yeah, that's true.
Like, how are we gonna play whatever battle
for the previous generation? They aren't stopping those. They're gonna stop those for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking about us playing immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care if they keep going. How are we gonna do it when y'all are Team Xbox and I'm PS5?
Yeah, that's true.
It takes a lot of wooing from somebody else that I have to get the woo from. Okay.
We'll have to. Yeah, that's true. You got to woo.
We're not a strong, independent man, Chris.
We'll have to coordinate. We'll have to coordinate that. But yeah, I'm leaning like I think the only thing that's really coming out for the PS5 is the Spider-Man game. It's an opening title. It's the Miles Morales.
I saw a little bit of footage of it. It looks good.
It looks crazy, man. Yeah, it looks really good. Also, in other news, today is Constitution Day, a forgotten holiday, I guess, that no one ever celebrates.
Elijah, you want to drop some knowledge?
Yeah.
Well, they removed the Articles of Confederation and they made something worse called the Constitution. So there you go.
But like
I'm just kidding. Constitution's good. It gave
a lot icing of the cake. It gave
a lot more power to the federal government compared to state and local. So it's the first truly divisive where you get your first political parties of federalists and anti-federalists. Because they basically made the Constitution illegally. So
they basically made
I mean, they really did. Like no one had a right to make a constitution. It's just they weren't getting taxes, and every time they tried to tax somebody, you had the Shays Rebellion, you had Whiskey Rebellion, all of these things that led up to the Constitution itself. And it basically just gives more power to the federal government and also defines their limits and terms a lot better,
right?
Than the Articles of Confederation.
Which is cool.
So, yeah. And I mean, the Constitution, like Japan's Constitution is copied verbatim, basically. A whole bunch of, Poland, literally 3 days afterward, made a constitution. So they're the first European country to have a constitution. And it has a lot from the US. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
cool.
So yeah, shout out to that.
Shout out to the Constitution. I mean, it's the icing of the cake that is the Declaration of Independence. It's like it makes everything like. Why are you just gonna have a cake? You gotta put the icing on it. You gotta like.
One of those people that gotta have ice cream with their cake.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you got the ice cream. Might as well surround it with a cake, and keep that ice cream structurally intact.
Thank you from our local historian. Appreciate that.
Dude. Appreciate that, bro. Y'all got any other things to mention?
No, I don't. I'm living life, I guess.
You just chilling.
What about you, Elijah?
I'm making a packing and wedding list, so I'm doing that.
Dude.
Yeah,
do it, man.
I know.
It's happening.
Elijah gets married soon, guys. We'll be recording. We'll be recording at the wedding itself. So we're
gonna figure that out. Yeah,
I do on the podcast.
We'll have Daniel separately though with Val, and they're just yelling.
Sneaking a GoPro or something. I don't know. Who knows?
Mini vlog about it. That'd be fun.
Right.
We can. Yeah.
I do have I have some handhelds. We can do a mini vlog or something. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. We could try that.
Coming up with ideas on the podcast, but anyways.
Yeah, I know, right? We're like,
thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for supporting us. Definitely share us with your friends, family, the stranger that you ride the bus with, everybody share us. We'll be back with some awesome episodes. We have some cool stuff ready to go. So again, thank you guys for listening. This has been another episode of the Thought Arcade.
Bye.